Good morning. My name is Carmen Lita Scott, President and CEO of the ATL Airport Chamber. Welcome to the Stair Steps to Success series of our Wednesday Wisdom program. Our event host today is Delta Community Credit Union. As some of you may know, Delta Community is the largest credit union in Georgia and among the top 25 largest credit unions in the nation, and one of the largest financial services providers of any kind that's based in Metro Atlanta, with $7 billion in assets and 420,000 members. Today, our Stair Steps to Success series will address the excellent work that Everview Consulting Group is doing to help preserve the rich culture of the small business community. There are many small businesses that need support to sustain operations and recover from the impact of COVID-19. This group of incredible students from Emory University, Oxford College, Oxford University, and Brown University are working hard to ensure the survival of the business communities in which they learn. It is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speakers, Ian Wang, Emory University, and Euro Wang, Oxford College, to present how they can support your business during these very uncertain times. Gentlemen.
This morning and sharing your time with us and allowing us to share our experience and potentially help out with these really unprecedented times, because we recognize the importance of small businesses everywhere, especially in the Atlanta area where we go to school. So here's a brief rundown of how, like, what our presentation will go through. So we're going to start off with who we are, with our mission and vision, what we do, and how we could help. So who we are, about us, our mission, vision, and our members. So we were founded at the Oxford College of Emory University a couple of years ago. A couple of friends of mine and I wanted to leverage students' diverse skills and desire for social impact to empower the communities in which we learn. Because we recognize that Emory gets so much from the community that we're part of, but we never quite give back enough. And the Everview Consulting Group was one way that we thought that we could give back to the community. And we recognize that most business problems can't all be solved the same way, which is why we have a focus on recruiting the brightest students from across all majors, because we recognize that, like, everyone brings something different to the table. And ultimately, what a political science major may bring to the table is completely different from what a computer science one will, which is also different from what a business student might use to solve a problem. So just using that diversity of skills really helps us get the best solution for our clients and really help build the community up.
So our vision with this entire project is to really preserve the rich culture that small businesses provide to our community. We understand as a student group that the community has given so much to us, and we want to give back by leveraging our own skills and experiences to help and really give back to the community. We really recognize that small businesses especially are really integral to our communities, serving as really the cornerstone of really what our communities are. And so specifically right now in this unprecedented time of COVID-19, we want to use our skills and experiences in helping businesses and nonprofit organizations as a consulting group to help businesses navigate these unprecedented times.
All right, so our members are all united in a passion for service, integrity, and academic excellence. And that goes back to us getting the smartest people from across all different majors. And a really important part of our work is that it's 100% pro bono, because we think being 100% pro bono allows us to maximize our impact for the client. Additionally, it gives us more time to work on client solutions instead of having to deal with complex nonprofit and tax laws. Our analysts and leads come from Emory University, Oxford College, Oxford University in the UK, Brown, and some of our analysts even come from UVA and Cornell. And we've interned and worked at a number of places, ranging from big consulting groups to small startups to even the US Senate and like really large real estate firms, in addition to like education and a lot of industrials. So we have a wide diversity of experiences, which we think could be really valuable for the members of the airport chamber. What we do. Sorry.
Yeah, so essentially as a student consulting group, what we do is solve business problems and help businesses make better decisions. And so we approach this in 4 different key overall ways. First is to define the problem. We want to make sure that we're on the same page as the client that we're working with to really understand what the problem is and in what specific way that we need to help. The second is really researching the industry, researching the context, getting more information so that we can answer the problem better. And the third step is essentially solving the problem by analyzing the things that we learned. And fourth is by presenting our solutions to our clients. Now, this methodology is broken down into a summer project timeline. So our regular projects are a little bit longer, but for this summer, we've decided to condense it into 4 weeks. So week 1 is kickoff, where we'll have an introductory meeting with our clients, and we'll send the client a project proposal that basically defines the scope of the problem, the goals of the case, and the team. So as Ian mentioned earlier, our teams are formulated from students from all different types of majors and backgrounds. This means that our students and our analysts really have their own specialties. And so what we want to do is that because we get such a diverse range of clients, we want to make sure that the analysts that are assigned to each client are the ones that best fit the client. So the analysts that really have experience in this one area or one sector will be assigned to the project or staffed to the project for the client that matches his or her area. And in week 1, we'll begin the research process. Now in week 2, this is where we learn and research. So this means surveying existing knowledge with literature review, identifying experts, and finding data to sort of better understand the problem and better understand how we can go about solving the problem. Now, this will lead us to our midpoint check-in, in which we will either coordinate a meeting with our clients to sort of discuss where we're at, where we're headed, so that the client is really on the same page, that we can update the client on what we're doing. This can also just be in the form of an email or a report of, here's what we've been up to, here's where we're headed, and the client can sort of provide feedback or just read over it and improve. Now, week 3 is really condensing and synthesizing the information that we learned and researched in week 2. Now, this means analyzing data, making visualizations, and finalizing citations. And part of this process is talking to experts within the industry that we're into. So this means, for example, in our project with a venture capital firm, we talked to various experts within the venture capital industry, within the investment industry, and just a bunch of different industry experts to gain a better understanding of the problem, of the context of the industry, to help us solve the problem. Now, week 4 is essentially the close. So this means that we're going to finalize our deliverable. And so that means reviewing citations. And then what we'll do is we'll coordinate a meeting to present or read our deliverable to our client. So basically what we mean by deliverable is everything that we learned in the project and the solution that we've generated for the problem. And this deliverable is oftentimes in the form of a report, and the readout will be in the form of a presentation where we can really present and sort of discuss with the client what our solutions were, what we found, and sort of make it more of a dialogue and a conversation. What we really want to do is make sure that we're not just working by ourselves, but we're really involving the client and making sure that we're communicating, that we're all on the same page, and that we can really solve the client's problem and provide a catered solution to our client's needs. Now, this doesn't mean that this is going to be a huge time commitment for the client. Like, we're not going to be expecting like a meeting every day or like communication like every day. But it's really up to you or the clients on what they want to or how much they want to commit or to communicate. So for example, the midpoint check-in could be just an email that we send, or if the client is more keen on getting more involved in communicating, we can set up a meeting to sort of talk and really figure out the problem together. And so, yeah, so we really want to make sure that we're serving the clients. And that's really our mission.
Yeah, thank you so much, Euro. So now I'll dive into some past projects, and we have a very rich range of projects. So we won't be able to go into all of them, but these are just the highlights. So one of our biggest projects from last year was with the Atlanta Dream. And the question that we were answering for them was, how do we grow our fan base for the future? And just for some context, the demographics of WNBA fanship have been gradually shifting from older, whiter populations to more diverse, younger populations. And the Atlanta Dream wanted to get ahead of that trend. And the solution that we ultimately came up with was a community involvement strategy paired with a ticket pricing promotion. And this was one of our larger teams with 3 leads and 5 analysts. And the way that we helped deliver value was by connecting the dots between census data and consumer survey data. And put together, we were able to deliver a 50-page report of findings and recommendations, and ultimately leave them with a heat map that helps serve as a vote of confidence for their multi-million-dollar move from the State Farm Arena to the Gateway Center. And this was one of our largest projects because it was in the news, and when we received news of it, we were very excited. And this is only 1 year. This is only after 1 year of existence, and we're always looking to make a large impact wherever we go. And for a software company, the question that we answered was, should we become an e-waste processor? So this is a project that I directly led, and it was a lot of fun. So for some context, this was a federal contracting software company. So for the context they had was that their contracts were expiring, and they developed a new software to streamline e-waste processing operations. So they essentially wanted a market entry assessment, which we provided, and we delivered value by interviewing experts, using predictive analytics, and really crunching the data to see if it was viable for them to become an e-waste processor. So we ultimately left them with a 20-slide deck with our findings and a no-go recommendation, which saved them in the neighborhood of $5 million, not including all the headache associated with a failing business. So this is what I'm really proud of, because we're able to convince a client to do what was best for them, and we were able to use all the data and let the data speak for itself. And then another project I led last year was for a private equity firm. This was a new, this fund had just started, and they didn't have the resources to attract top-notch talent. But we were able to help them solve the issue by helping them develop a robust internship program in which interns wouldn't necessarily earn like private equity incomes, but be in a very good position to earn a lot of money down the road. So we essentially helped them make an internship program that prioritized learning as well as work. And we left them with a new hiring methodology and 5 high-quality candidates that filled the roles of the internship.
So another one of our projects was with a brewery in Georgia. So this was actually a small business in Georgia And what they really wanted to know was, how do we grow? And what do we really need to grow? So what we did was, it was sort of similar to what Ian described was Dream Project, where we really identified the target market, and we identified key strategies to really grow and penetrate that target market. So this was really about growth strategy, making sure that they have viability for the future, and that their business model is sustainable. So the way we went about this was analyzing market data, in literature review of existing literature online and in our databases, and applying the best industry practices. And the deliverable for this was an investors packet for this brewery's investors, because this brewery was a brewery that sort of was recently starting, and was sort of attracting investors, and a presentation slide deck describing growth strategy that they can implement. Yeah, so one of the other projects, this is a project that I personally led, was a project with a Brazilian investment fund. So they approached us to figure out what the best strategy to use to raise a fund for their venture capital firm. And so what they really want to know was two things. How do we maximize profits? And second, how do we maximize social impact? And then how do we communicate that to potential investors to draw investors in? And so this was really interesting project because we had a ton of key stakeholders to deal with here. We not only had investors, so limited partners that were trying to invest in this venture capital firm, but this venture capital firm, we also did a lot of interviews with industry experts in the venture capital industry, and the investment industry. We also analyzed different investment practices from family offices and institutional firms to sort of draw and generate LP investment towards our funds, and really understood how we can sort of maximize profits and social impact as a VC fund by conducting literature review and with expert interviews. And so this really helped this really helped determine this fund's strategy to draw investments. And so we found that really fulfilling because the fund was sort of a new fund in an emerging market, Brazil. And with COVID-19, we also had to assess and calibrate our recommendations based on the impact of COVID-19, specifically in Brazil, that's being really hit hard. And so this is something that we've been figuring out. And so it took us some time. It took a lot of time and energy, but it was definitely a very fulfilling project.
Yeah, and we have a lot more experience across many different fields, like with venture capital funds, marketing firms, startups, insurance providers, and national nonprofits. And this is to show our diversity of clients and our diversity of talent, as well as our agility and adaptability to new fields. So though we have a lot of experience across many different fields already, we're always looking forward to like breaking into new fields and really just going through that academic process of breaking down what's out there and just like crunching the numbers to deliver value. So now is like the last part of our presentation, a discussion of how we could help. And what I envision for this part is a collaborative experience where we talk about the challenges faced by the members of the Atlanta Airport Chamber, because the challenges that your understanding of the challenges is amazing, because you guys are operating these small businesses on the day-to-day and know what it's like. So let's get off mute and start talking about the challenges you guys have been facing in this unprecedented time.
Ian, I think there's also a few questions that we might want to address.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, the first question was, how do students qualify to become part of the student consortium at Everview Consulting Group.
Yeah.
I guess I
So
could talk a little bit about like the diversity. And so essentially, we attract talent and analysts from really universities across not only America, but also in the world. I'm personally a student at the University of Oxford in England. And I was really excited to join the team because I really understood that Everview Consulting Group was a organization that really cares about communities and really delivers impact. And that's what really drew me in. But this past year, we've been really recruiting analysts from different universities because, like we said, we're trying to make sure that we gain a valuable group of people and students who are skilled and experienced in a variety of fields. We're not all just business majors. We're not all just finance majors. But we're really students of all different disciplines coming together to solve interdisciplinary problems, which is really what business problems are in the first place. And so we believe that this is the best way we can deliver impact. And so not only do we draw students from different majors, we draw students from different backgrounds in different universities. And like I said earlier, we will staff specific projects with analysts who have experience or skills or interest in that specific sector or area. Ian can describe a little bit more about the recruitment process.
absolutely. Yeah. So our interview process is pretty tough, and we're incredibly selective. We only pick the best and brightest, and they have to demonstrate that in an interview. So what we generally do is we test to see how fast people could learn by just throwing them issues and just seeing how they think through them. So like essentially like a mini case study, if you will. And we test like mathematic abilities and just like how and we look for people who think logically and could really articulate what they're thinking at any given time. And I want to say that we accept only 15% of those that apply globally, and we make it a point to like only get like the people that have demonstrated interest in us and demonstrated interest in really bettering the communities in which they learn. And then, do you have experience helping companies in the food industry? Yes, we do. And like our primary experience is with the brewery, and I think Euro could speak more about that
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely. So the brewery is actually a brewery in Atlanta. And what we did was really analyze the target market for the brewery and really hone in on the strategies to attract this target market. We also performed a risk analysis on attracting this target market and on our strategies. And so we have extensive experience, well, specifically with this project on better understanding, I guess, growth with like food or like vendors or like restaurants, and specifically targeting different markets and strategies to attract new customers. And so that was a little bit about the food project. I personally have some experience within the food industry. I'm currently working at a startup that is related to the food industry. And so if there's a project about the food industry, I'd be more than happy to hop on and work on those projects.
So, gentlemen, can you speak to us a little bit about your work with the healthcare industry?
Absolutely. So far we have worked with healthcare or like insurance providers that have like an industry that's adjacent to the healthcare industry, as well as like investment funds focused on healthcare technology. But we haven't gone specifically into healthcare, which is what we're looking to do in the near future. Because my first experience with business was working in logistics and procurement at a dental clinic, a public health dental clinic. So that's something that I've always wanted to do. And our body of students consists of a lot of pre-medical students as well, and people who have been in and around the healthcare industry. So we're always looking to expand to that field because we feel like we're uniquely suited to do well in it because of our rich and diverse experiences within the sector and adjacent sectors as well.
So my suggestion as far as students for the healthcare industry would be to reach out to Morehouse College. They have an excellent program in that area, brilliant students, and most of them continue on and become prominent physicians, especially in the Atlanta area and across the world. So that would be my suggestion as far as trying to promote what you do in that area, and then from there taking on a activity that'll help you. Also, we have a very, very brilliant group of students that are middle and high school students that belong to an organization called Kids Drone Zone, and they actually learn how to fly drones and become aviation pilots. So that's a nonprofit. How would you be able to help that organization?
Right. I can take a swing at this. So first of all, I guess looking at our experience as a consulting group with engagement strategy issue within nonprofit organizations, we actually took on a project with a nationwide, actually global nonprofit and helping them specifically with their engagement strategy. And so this is something that we have experience in and something that we would love to help with. Now, specifically regarding middle and high school students and sort of more educational nonprofits, a lot of us also have experience with that. I personally serve as a national president of Future Business Leaders of America, which is a high school business organization with 250,000 members across the globe. And our specific target market is middle school students, high school students, and college students. And so I have an experience with sort of educational nonprofits as well. And what's really interesting is that I think, so we also have another national officer who is a part of Everview Consulting Group, and he's actually one of the co-founders, and he served as a national treasurer of this organization. So we have experience in the middle and high school educational nonprofit space. And so CTSOs, or Korean Technical Student Organizations, which is, I feel like, sort of similar to this nonprofit. So CTSOs are really about educating students on a variety of issues. We have I can't remember the exact number, but we have several student leaders from that organization. And students experienced in those organizations a part of Everview Consulting Group. And so we have, and I think Ian could elaborate a little bit more on this, but we also have students who have experience in the more education space and will go into the education space.
Yeah, thank you for that lovely bridge. Yeah, so Everview, we have one member that went through City Year and taught in the inner city schools in Boston. And myself, I'm joining Teach for America next year as a math teacher in, I think, either Atlanta or Dallas. So I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, like in general, like I think that we could help in many different ways, like just like scaling up and connecting students to experts, and really helping like really large organizations engage with their community. Because with the Atlanta Dream, one of our recommendations was for them to host more open community practices at Boys and Girls Clubs and really engage with the kids there. Because we thought that would be very powerful, and it indeed was. Like the prevalence of those types of practices were a lot more prevalent this past year, which we're really proud of because we recommended that. But yeah, like we're all about like engaging students, middle and high school students, because we not too long ago we were also middle and high school students as well. So yeah.
So gentlemen, what's your experience in the technology space?
Yeah, so it's it's incredibly diverse. What I am aware of is like a technology venture capital fund where we like really looked at like apps and other associated technologies and really just broke down like the industry as well as like the competitors as well. Um, like in terms of like pure like software, pure hardware, we have a lot of experience in those as well. Um, I'm just curious, like what specific area in technology you guys might be curious of.
I think all forms at this point, because technology is the future right now.
Absolutely.
And so for a
Right.
small business, it's difficult sometimes to determine the correct technology platform for their business to grow, especially with so many platforms out there. So what are some platforms you could recommend? I mean, like we're doing this through a Zoom meeting, but there's other platforms like WebEx and GoToMeeting and things of that nature. And if we're doing making flyers and things for an event, we're able to use Canva. Some of us use Poster My Wall. Some of us use Adobe Illustrator. Some use Publisher. So in that realm of technology, as a expert in that area, what are you recommending that would be the best to help our businesses grow?
Absolutely. Yeah. Great question. And that's top of mind for all businesses, like large and small. Like how do we best use technology to further our operations? And I guess like the short answer is that like we have to find what works for you guys and what works like for the industry as a whole. And that means just looking at what the stakeholders use, like what works best, what works best with you guys, what's like most cost effective, and like what is like the easiest to use. Because recently, like I think Zoom has become so popular because it's so easy to use. You don't have to download a lot of things, and the interface is very intuitive. So I think just like analyzing what the stakeholders want is essential to really adopting new technologies and really evolving as a business.
So adding a little bit onto that, so specifically with like experience in the technology sector, Ian described earlier a project that we did with a software company, and he mentioned earlier about a project with a venture capital firm that deals with technology. We also have several analysts who are CS majors or students who are studying within the technology space. And so I think that's what's really different about Everview, in that we're really attracting talent from really all different industries. So we're not just taking business majors, we're not just taking finance majors, but really everything, like every question that we've received, we have some sort of experience in or students studying in that area. So whether it be the food industry or healthcare, attracting pre-med students, or technology space, where we have CS students or students keen on technology, or nonprofit space where students have experience in nonprofits or are interested in nonprofits, including and students from the education space. And so we really have a wide variety of experiences. And I think that's really what enables us to take a wide variety of clients, and second, approach these problems from a very interdisciplinary nature, where we bring in different schools of thought, but also bring in students who have experience in specific fields. So yeah, Ian, is there anything you want to add?
No, you summed it up perfectly, Euro.
Cool.
Yeah. So I guess like the next question is, do you have experience in sustainability and supply chain management? So I could take this one. And yeah, so another fun fact about me is that I interned at the Southern Environmental Law Center last summer, and I worked on solar, like large scale solar projects, as well as the policy surrounding renewable energy and Vogel 3 and 4. So it was really interesting work. We also have a couple folks that are working at sustainability oriented startups. In terms of supply chain management, that's one area that we may not have expertise in yet, but we could easily grow that in the coming year, because like we have a lot of computer science majors. We have a couple business majors that are doing supply chain focused work. So yeah, like I think we're well positioned to grow in the supply chain management space, and we're pretty good at working with sustainability projects, because we have a couple of environmental science majors, and you have me with some experience in environmental policy as well.
So I guess the next question is like what type of services we provide for startups, if we create business plans and specific strategies to scale their businesses. I can approach this question on a more like higher level. So first thing is that we have experience with working with startups and I guess new businesses. So the brewery that we worked with, the small business in Georgia, was actually like a recently founded brewery. And so what we really helped them with growth and scale strategy. Like another like startup we worked with was helping them with their marketing strategy and to really help them grow. And we have several students who are currently working on startups, working at startups, founded their own startups. And so we definitely have experience in the startup space. And like Ian mentioned, because we have business majors, we do also understand the sides of like business plans, growth, scaling, and such. And so we definitely have the experience to cover that. And we definitely have the skills to cover that. Regarding the specific scope and the goals of the business, like creating business plans or creating a growth plan or a marketing plan, I think that's something that we would be better off discussing individually with the client, because I think that way we could sort of narrow down the scope and sort of better understand the client's needs and sort of match that with our skill sets and experiences.
Yeah, that's well put. Yeah. So the next question: what quality management tools do you use? For example, scatter diagrams, cause and effects diagrams. Is anyone proficient in Six Sigma, or is another platform that would assist the small business community? So yeah, total quality management tools we use. So I guess it really depends on the client, but we're generally guided by guided by some key principles, like just doing what's best for our client and just like working around that. If we have to learn like specific quality management tools such as Six Sigma and Lean, we're willing to do that as well, because like we have bits of Six Sigma and Lean lumped into the business school curriculum, which I'm taking right now. So like just like designing processes in Six Sigma is probably something that we're going to grow, is a skill that we're going to grow. But I think in general, like the platform that we could use to assist like the small business community is very much like just thinking small and just like finding a uniquely tailored solution for the small businesses in this area.
Adding something quickly is that we specifically have experience within process flows because some of the projects require process flow diagrams and process flow analysis. That's one way we really try to better understand the problem itself, because when we sort of break down the operations or the value chain by the process flow, we can really better understand where really the bottleneck is, where the problem really stands, and address those problems or attack those problems specifically. And so we have incorporated process flow diagrams into several of our projects, and we have experience in that area. And what Ian said is, I think, really covers it.
Do you have anyone in your group that is part of civil engineering?
We do not have any civil engineers in our group. Yeah.
So I think that maybe a good space there would be probably to reach out to Georgia Tech.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Like that's something that we've been like thinking about, and talking to a lot of folks about, because like their engineering programs are top of the nation, and they have a lot of students that just don't have any place to go to really like use their engineering skills for like businesses, for example. So yeah, that's definitely an area that we're looking into.
So do we have any more questions for Ian and Euro? Here we are.
Yes. Right now is the summer project period. When does this period end? Yeah. So the summer project period will end. Geez, what did we say? It's going to end like mid to late September, and then the projects are going to slowly get longer because everyone's like transitioning to like the full swing of like school, and we want to make sure that our students are doing the best they can in school, even if it means like putting slightly less time in this, but also ensuring that this is a priority for them as well. So yeah,
I could expand a little bit more.
Absolutely.
So I think Ian covered it pretty well. But essentially, our summer project is really this COVID recovery consulting project, where we are taking on different clients, different small businesses, different nonprofit organizations, and helping them deal with the impact of COVID-19. And as we discussed earlier with our timeline, our COVID project is going to be 4 weeks long. And so really the project will end 4 weeks from whenever it starts. And we're hoping to start it within the next few weeks. And so, like Ian said, it will be around mid to late September if we do the math. What time zone are we calling from? So I'm actually in Seoul, South Korea, because I'm actually on a gap year. I've been on a gap year this past year. And yeah, so I'm calling in from Seoul, South Korea. And Ian?
Yeah, so I'm calling from San Francisco, California, Pacific time zone. So yeah, really lucky to be in this city. But yeah, exciting work.
We also have a ton of analysts from like a ton of different time zones. So a lot of our analysts are in the Eastern time zone. Some of them are sort of like in the middle of the country. We have a few in the West Coast. We have a few in international spaces. So we're really all over the place, but we have a lot in the Eastern time zone. And I think we're definitely willing to coordinate and make sure that it's easy for the client. So if the client is interested in a call at 9 a.m., we'd be more than happy to jump on, even if that's like 10 p.m. for me.
Yeah, and yeah, like the reason why we're presenting today is because most of the people in like Atlanta and the Eastern time zone, they're all engaged in their internships at like really amazing companies. I have mine later today, so this is like my pre-work, my pre-internship like activity, if you will. So it's truly a privilege to be able to talk to you guys. And yeah, do you accept every company that applies if you have the experience to help them? Absolutely, yeah, because we're always looking to expand, and like we have a lot of great students in our organization, and we're always looking, and just having a lot of projects really helps them grow. It helps them contribute to the community. So we're always looking forward to accepting every company that applies if we have the experience necessary to help them.
And thank you. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but thank you. I'd love to speak to you too. My email is it's listed earlier on, but I could drop it again with Ian's email if you ever want to reach out to us, contact us. Yeah.
Yeah, I could copy and paste it.
Here, I got it. Yeah.
You got it. Oh, perfect.
So, gentlemen, thanks so much for sharing your expertise and offer to conduct pro bono work for members of the ATL Airport Chamber. Let's give Ian and Euro Wang a round of applause. They especially, since they got up so early and one stayed up all night. I mean, you have one calling from San Francisco, one calling from Seoul, Korea, and that is pretty impressive in itself for students that just want to help small businesses through COVID-19.
Thank you so much for having us. It's really our privilege, and we'd love to help in any capacity that we can.
Yeah, like it's truly a privilege, and we're really looking forward to helping.
Well, one of the things we're going to offer to you as a chamber, and we'll talk to you more about it later, is after your school year starts, we have some opportunities where several of you can be interns for the ATL Airport Chamber, and that still gives you access to some of our companies. And then from interning from us, you probably can get other clients from there. So we really appreciate you getting up early and staying up late. That's been great for us. So just to, for those on the line, our upcoming events, we have a whole series called How to Do Business. It's our Stair Steps to Success series. So on August the 12th, we'll have How to Do Business with the Airport Region Municipalities, which will include the City of Atlanta, Clayton County, DeKalb County, and Fulton County. On August 18th, we'll have a U.S. Senate Legislative Fireside Chat with John Ossoff. Senator David Perdue is also invited, and information on his special time is forthcoming. August 19th, our program is I'm DBE certified, now what? And they will give you all the information you need on what to do once you are certified. And on August 26th, we'll have How to Do Business with Clayton County and Fulton County School Systems. The program runs into September to include How to Do Business with Hartsfield-Jackson. So thanks for attending today's session. The ATL Airport Chamber looks forward to seeing you soon. Take care, follow COVID-19 safety recommendations, and have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you so much, Ms. Scott.
You're very welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you so much for having us.
You're very welcome. Take care.